Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session of mobility here on Tuesday or whenever you're watching this recording. My name is Michelle. Nice to see you all again. Just a couple things before we get started. So the activity code for today's session is mobility 59, okay? And I just put that in the chat box for those that are here or watching the recording. Oh, Max has joined me. I think Max has made many appearances before, but today's session, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the upper body, so our neck, our shoulders, opening up some of the chest. We are going to do a little bit of lower body work as well, but the last couple of weeks we've kind of focused more on sort of that stability and some strengthening exercises. Today our focus is just going to be a nice gentle stretch, okay? So we're going to go through, we're going to do some dynamic moving motions, and then we'll get into some of those static stretches as well, okay? So we're going to start off, I'm just starting sitting down, and you can do the same too, because we're just going to start with our neck and our shoulders, and then we will make our way down to the ground, okay? So Max, you're going to have to go here. All right, so we're just going to start with the neck and make our way down. So we're going to start off with some neck rotation. So we're just going to start off by looking side to side. This is nice. You can do this first half if you're at the office, just sitting down at your desk. Hopefully you feel a little bit better. So gently just looking side to side. We don't want to go too far where we're really starting to feel like an aggressive strain. It should just be that slight release into our neck muscles. Try 2 more on each side. You might hear some creaks here. That's normal. Again, if you experience any pain, then just ease off. Good. All right. This time we're going to bring our chin to our chest and then looking up to the ceiling. So we're going to lift that head down, pause for a moment, just feel that stretch in the back of the chest. And then we're coming up, feeling the stretch in the front. You might feel as you look down a little bit more into like your traps, into your upper back as well. I know that most people are quite tight in that region. So we're going to focus on really loosening that up today. Nice and gentle, smooth, controlled movement. One more each time. Down. And come back up to the top. Good. Let's come back to center here. And what we're going to do is just do some neck circles. So we're going to start on one side and make our way over. Just like a semicircle, so we're not doing the full rotation. We'll add that in, but then we're switching directions once we get to the other side. So a little bit of that kind of like front side or back there. I feel this one feels really nice, like all into the side here. And again, just go slow and controlled. If something feels sticky, maybe you want to spend some time just kind of like hanging out in that area. You can even add like a little self-massage, that active release by putting some pressure onto the points that feel a little tight. Good. Now let's try to take it all the way around. So we're going to come up. And again, just slow and gentle here. We want to be safe with that neck. We'll stick with one side. One more big circle. Good. And then we'll switch all the way around. This is where I start to hear some of those creaks coming in. We do that full circle all the way around. Let's try one more. Good. And bringing it up to center. Okay, this time what we're going to do is just apply a little bit of pressure. So we're going to take one hand and just on the opposite side of the head, we're just going to add a slight bit of pressure. We don't want to crank our neck, but we just want to, again, add a little bit more of that stretch into the neck too. So of course, our head weight kind of adds to that stretch, but we're going to apply that little bit of pressure to see if we can just feel a little bit more. And again, take it where it needs to go. Like if it feels better down here, if you need it more up here, just spend some time. We're going to hold that for a little bit. And really try to like just start off small with this. And then as we breathe, you might be able to relax more into it. Good, and let's try the other side, shake it out. Other hand comes over, find that slight bit of pressure. Yes, yeah, and I can notice even just doing this one-sided stuff here, I can notice that this side was a lot tighter, so it's good to just kind of gather some information about your own body and what feels good and what needs a little bit more love and attention. Good. Good. Okay. Before I start moving down our shoulders, I just want to work on our lat or on our traps. Okay, so our traps are the muscles that are up here, our trapezius there, and we want to be able to add a little bit of pressure. So we're doing an active muscle release. Okay, so find the tight spot and just spend some time applying some pressure with the fingertips. Okay, and then that self massage, you can go in little circles, you can just hold down, but add a little bit of pressure there. Because what happens is sometimes we have some, pain in our shoulders or lack of stability or maybe some weakness or maybe our training's affected by that. And a lot of times what can happen is that, when we're doing anything, our traps tend to take control and they want to stabilize and they want to sort of take that load. And so we want to release it so it feels less tension so that we can be more mindful of our shoulder movements and rotations and whatever we're doing with that. So a little self-massage, we're starting with one side. Another thing that you can do at home is like, see how I've got that barbell up there? Sometimes I'll go under it and just like apply the pressure so that it adds that, or you can get like a lacrosse ball or like even like a rolling pin and just kind of apply that pressure. And that's a good way to release the traps and that tension, because that's where a lot of the tension in the neck and the shoulders can kind of stem from. So we're just adding that little bit of a release, and then we'll switch to the other side whenever you're ready. Oh, that feels so nice. And you'll find the really tight spots, right? Like sometimes it's a little bit closer to the shoulder, sometimes it's closer to the neck. But we want to add that self-massage, little massage time and mobility today. Awesome. Okay, if you are seated, you can stand for this one, but we're going to focus on some shoulder rolls. Okay, so arms extended down by your side, and we're just coming up, down, and back. So focus on really contracting the chest, bringing the shoulders forward. We're raising up towards the ears and then squeezing the back muscles together. So we're going to start going backwards and just guiding it nice and gentle. Two more big circles. And let's try the other way. So this time we're bringing our shoulders up, pushing them forward, stretching that back, and then opening up the chest. Again, being intentional with our movement. Feel everything loosening up just a little bit there. Let's try one more and we'll shake it out. Okay, the next one, we're gonna need to stand up. So I'm just gonna scooch up here. And if everyone can find a blank spot on the wall, so you're gonna need some room on the wall. I don't have a wall, like a flat wall. As you can see, my room is a little bit full, but I'm gonna show you standing and cue you through this motion. So find a wall, and what I want you to do, make sure that this is position. So what I want you to do here is just put your hands at 90 degrees, okay? And the goal is to try to get that back completely flat to the wall. So you want to tuck that tailbone in. And if I had my hand behind your back, you'd be able to keep it completely flat, okay? We don't want to arc in this. We want to be able to keep that neutral spine. We're coming up to 90 degrees. And we're going to do what's called a wall slide. So we're going to come all the way up. And again, I'm showing you without a wall, just so I can be in screen. But we're just sliding up and down. Okay, so try a few things, try a few slides, and then I'm going to just let you know about a couple of things that you may notice. Okay, so up and down, nice and controlled, keeping that spine neutral. So when you're doing this, check where your wrists are and where your hands are. Okay, if your wrists are starting to come off the wall, it's hard to keep them flat as you come up and down. That's okay. It just shows that you might be a little bit tighter in your shoulders or your chest. Okay, so this is kind of a good awareness tool and a little assessment to see how your shoulder mobility is reaching overhead. So do a couple here. And again, it's okay. You know, as we go through today's session, you might notice it loosens up and you can try this at the end again. Okay, and then if you notice your hands are coming off, yeah, you could be quite tight in the sort of the shoulders and the chest region. So we're going to be focusing on looking after that today. So kind of see where you're at. And then we'll try that wall slide at the end and see if it's made any difference. Good. And you might notice one wrist is like, you might notice just one side's popping up, and that's good information to have too. Good. Okay. So from there, we are going to stick with that overhead motion. We're going to do a reach. So what we're going to do is just reach here. Try to, again, when we reach, we're keeping the traps down. So we don't want to go like this. We want to drop and then reach. Okay, so spending some time here, just reaching. You can even use the other hand if you want. You might feel this a little bit more into your lat, to your back muscle as well. So nice gentle stretches as we go along. We're not going to be focusing a lot on like those strengthening and stabilizing movements that we saw the last couple weeks. We're just going to get a nice full body, mostly upper body today. And we're doing the other side. So again, keeping that shoulder down, pulling. Good, shake it out. Okay, one more stretch for while we're standing, and we're gonna come down to the ground. So we're gonna go into a tricep stretch, okay? So we're just gonna fold that arm in half and apply a little bit of pressure onto that tricep or on the elbow. So we can feel the stretch into our triceps, the three muscles that make up the back of our arm. And then if you want to really test your mobility here, you can bring the other hand around. And this might be hard if your shoulder's quite tight there, but you can always bring it around and see if you can clasp onto that. Or again, keep applying that pressure. So we're just releasing our triceps. And then if you're reaching behind, you'll feel your shoulder as well. So bring that shoulder down and back. Very good. Shake that out. Let's try the other side now. So same thing, folding at the elbow, putting a little pressure, and then you can try again with that. And look at this, like my other shoulder, a lot more mobile than this one. And this one's harder for me to reach, where the other one I could easily clasp onto my hand. So what that's telling me is that I've got some tightness in my left shoulder here. You do some shoulder rolls and try again. Good, so releasing that. Very good. Shake that out. Okay, hopefully the upper body feels a little bit looser. We are going to come down to the ground now. So meet me when you're ready. I'm just going to set this. There we go. That works. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our hands and our knees. Okay, so that quadruped position. And we're going to start off with a rotation. So this is going to get our chest and our shoulders, but a little bit of our thoracic spine as well too. So we're going to put, your knees are going to be a little wider for some support. We're just going to put one hand on our temple, bring it to our elbow, and then looking up. So you should feel that nice rotation in the trunk, and then your chest should be opening up and lifting as we rotate out. So we're going to try 12 of these all together. 5. And here's 10, 2 more. Switching to the other side. 9. Last one. Good. Just sit back for a moment. We're also stabilizing, so your shoulders might have been a little bit tender there. Max is supervising. Hopefully he's counting my reps there. Okay, we are going to come back to that quadruped position. We're going to go into our cat-cow. So we'll get a nice release into the upper back here as well. So what we're going to do here is tuck that chin, and we also get our neck. So we're still going back to that neck piece there too. So tucking that chin, rounding that upper back, and then looking up to the ceiling. Oh, I just did a core yesterday, so my abs, as you go into that cat position, you might feel your core stretch as well. And be mindful of your tailbone and your hips, making sure that they're tucking and folding too. Really exaggerate that round. There's 3 for me after my cat. We're going to go for 12 altogether. Take your time with this. One more each way. Good. And then what we're going to do is just do a couple side bends to loosen that up. So we're going to take one ear and bring it to that same hip. So just moving side to side, you can keep it fluid like a snake, which is kind of like it feels kind of nice or really nice on your spine too. So you can just, again, take it like this, going side to side. Good. All right, so we can sit back onto our heels now. We're going to make our way to our wrists. You can take one side, and we're going to do some wrist circles here. So one arm out, and we're just going to start rotating clockwise. And then we're going to switch it and go the opposite way. Good. Shake it out. We're going to try the other side. So starting with that clockwise rotation. And going the opposite way. Good. A little creaky there, right? I find my wrists get quite tight, especially for gripping stuff. The gym or something, or doing yard work. It's been so lovely out. Good. All right, so we've loosened up those wrists, okay? Now we're going to be stretching them out, okay? So this one, I mean, just go at your, like, just a little bit of a range and build off on that, because it can be a quite aggressive one. So we're going to start by stretching our forearms, and they insert into our wrist there too, so it'll help release some of that. So we're going to start off with our fingertips pointing away from us, and we're just hinging forward. Okay, so you don't need much of a bend for that. Let's switch those hands around and bring them towards us, and then sit back. Okay, and you can kind of rock with it. If it feels really tight, you can ease into it or find that position and hold. Again, you don't need much. You should feel this all in your forearm. relieving some tension from those wrists. Good, and walk out of that. And then this time, what we're gonna do here is focus on bringing our palms up. So we're gonna bring them up. They're gonna be flat, and we're just shifting side to side, getting a release into the front of the arm, and you'll feel that right into your wrist. So again, you don't need much range here, just little motions. You can feel it, and you can play around with it, right? Like we're all gonna look a little different. Gentle, right? We don't want to apply too much pressure onto the wrist there. We're just adding a little bit and moving side to side. Good. All right, shake that out. Hopefully that feels a little better. You can play around with that. Okay, next one, we've got our scorpion. So we are going to come down onto our stomachs, and I'm just going to flip my mat around so it's a little easier for you to see. So for this one, we're going to be stretching a lot of the chest. We get some rotation movement here as well. So we're going to come down, okay, on our stomach. Our arms are going to come out to 45 degrees. We're going to keep one out at 45 degrees on the ground. And with the opposite leg from the hand that we're keeping planted, we're going to open up, okay? And you can try to get your foot as close as you can to the ground. We're really stretching the chest here. You'll also feel this a little bit in your hips and your low back. So get a release. You can keep it fluid if you want to. If you want to open and come back in. Right into our shoulder joint. You're going to feel that stretch. Our chest, our pecs, insert right into that shoulder. So you'll feel that deep stretch with this one. Good. Let's switch to the other side. So same thing. Opening up. Keeping that one arm planted at that 90 degrees. And then just opening up that leg. Good. And when you're ready, pick yourself back up. Hopefully your chest feels a little bit more. Okay, we're going to stretch out the back now. We've done a lot of chest. Okay, so let's just try a couple arm swings just to loosen everything up. You want to try a couple arm circles. Good. Okay, next up we need a bench or a chair or just something with some elevation. It could be a table. We're going to go into our prayers pose, okay? Lots of shoulders. We're also going to feel our lats as well, so our back, okay? So this one, we want to be on our knees here. Our elbows are going to come up, and we're going to try to feed that head through, okay? And then we're keeping our hands together, and you can also play around with opening and closing it. You might notice a little bit more of the shoulders coming into play there, or you can hold it. We're trying to really get that chest close to the ground. So dropping that chest and that head. Keep holding that there. That's being quiet. Okay. Keep holding that. Good. You can walk yourself out of that. We're going to get a little bit more lat. So we're going to come down into child's pose. So our feet are together, our knees are a little wider, and we're just going to fold forward. Okay. We're going to hold this one, and then we're going to move it side to side. So just straight in front. And then we're going to walk it to the right. So really keeping that the hips seated back, and we're just opening up and really getting the lat. Good. Let's walk it to the center. We're going to try the other side now. Good. And you can walk yourself up. Okay. Hopefully our upper body's feeling a little bit better. Our next one, we're going to focus a little bit on the lower half. So we're going to stand up and we're going to go into what's called our elephant walk. So I'm going to just position this up a bit more. Perfect. That's good there. Okay. So we're going to find a stance. I'm just going to show you from the side. What we're going to do is straighten one leg and switching side to side. So we're really pushing that butt back, feeling the stretch in our hamstrings, putting our hands onto just above our knees, onto our thighs, and we're just walking it out, getting that release into that hamstring. Keeping that neutral spine. Good, shake that out. We are going to be focusing still on that hamstring. So we're going to do a seated hamstring stretch. So for this one, you'll need that seat or that couch, whatever you have. We're going to extend one leg. What we want to do here is really make sure that we're folding, but keeping the spine neutral. As soon as we start rounding, we lose that stretch in the hamstring. So we simply just want to fold forward. Okay, and wherever we are, that's fine. This is our starting point. And we're just going to hold it here. Keeping that toe up. Really folding out the hips there. Good. Let's switch to the other side. I just realized my washing machine broke 2 days ago, and I'm waiting for a new one to come. So it's going to be a couple more days. So I'm kind of scrounging up any socks I can find. So we're hinging. Oh, this one's a little bit tighter for me. You might notice that yourself. So again, folding at the hips. Breathe. Try 10 more seconds. Good. Ooh, shake it out. That feels a little bit better in the backside. Okay, from there, we're still going to be seated. We're going to do a seated glute stretch. So what we're going to do, we're going to have one foot planted. The other one's going to cross over that knee. Okay, and what we're going to do is just hinge forward. And you might feel it enough sitting right up. You might be able to hinge a little bit more. So we're just going to hold this glute stretch. We get a little bit of that piriformis, which is responsible for any abduction, so outward movements in the hip. So we're going to stretch that out. Again, folding at the hips, not rounding that back. We really want to sink the hips back, fold, feel that pull. Good, ease off. We'll plant that foot back on the ground and we're going to try the other one. Ooh, a little bit tender on this side. See, I can't get as much external rotation in this leg than I can with the other one. And definitely is not much more of a hinge than the other side. Breathing, holding this position. Feeling it right into the glute, the butt, the side, right into that hip. Breathing with that. Good, ease back. Okay, we're gonna take that glute stretch a little deeper. So we're gonna come down to the ground and we're gonna do a similar movement, but we're gonna do it seated with that option to get that bench for a little bit more leverage. Okay, so we're gonna come down. Okay, we've got one foot against that bench or that couch, whatever you have. We're gonna cross it over and hold. Okay, with that other foot that's planted on the bench, we'll do is really kind of allow you to have an anchor so you can kind of even get closer, right? When I cross that over, it's a lot more. The goal is to try to keep your spine flat on the ground, right? We don't want the tailbone tucking up and that butt lifting up. Keep the butt on the ground, and you can use the other arm to get that deeper of a stretch, right? And you can kind of come up on your tippy toes to get that other knee a little closer to pull that leg that we're stretching in for a deeper stretch there. All right, good. Let's switch it up, other side. So I'm going to back up for this. This tight side is definitely tighter. Feel that nice stretch. Oh, it's a deep one there. So we just kind of warmed up to it with the previous one, and this one allows us to add a little bit more. Good, nice hold. Let's release. Oh, that feels a little bit better. Okay. Next up, we're going to come up and just do a little bit of ankle work to finish things off here. So you're going to stand up nice and tall. We're going to extend one leg out, and we're just going into those circles, starting clockwise, loosening up that ankle joint. Let's try the opposite way. Good, shake it out. And the other side. when you're ready. Good. All right. And we're going to stretch out that calf. So you want to find something, an anchor point to bring that toe up towards the wall. I got a beam here. So, and we want to bring the hips towards. So really focusing on getting the lower part of the legs, our calves. Good. Let's try the other side. Move it, shake it out. All right. Well, everyone, that was our mobility class for today. If you need anything else, stick around and do your own stretching at home or the office, wherever you're at too. But thanks, everyone, and hope you feel a little bit looser, a little bit better, less tension, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.